Alright guys, let's dive into the deep end and see how you do. I feel like we've been talking a lot and not drawing enough. So before we move on to learning about lines, I want to give you an opportunity to do a simplified drawing. You're going to be drawing a pear or a portrait if you're doing the level 2 project. And I know a fruit isn't the most exciting thing to draw, but it's going to allow you to focus on the process I'm going to show you instead of being distracted by a difficult subject matter. This will let us see where you're at with your skills, and it's totally fine if you're at 0. That's kind of expected, but you'll identify right away what you struggle with, and you'll be introduced to a lot of the skills that you're going to be working on improving in this course. You can draw from the photos I provided in the downloads, or find your own fruit and draw from life. Pick a fruit that has an interesting shape that you like. Put the fruit on your desk and shine a light on it. Move the light around until you like the balance of light and dark shapes. And make sure you take a photo of the fruit from your point of view, so you can include it when posting your drawings in the community. If you want to be critiqued by me or others in the community, we're going to need to see what you were drawing. Simplification is the key to this exercise. I want you to start training your brain to simplify what you see, to communicate more clearly to the observer what it is you drew. And by the way, simplifying is not simple. Simplifying is harder than copying what you're seeing because you have to process what you're seeing and then change it. Copying exactly what you're seeing doesn't require problem solving, just really good observation skills. In this project, we're going to be simplifying 3 things: shapes, values, and edges. Okay, so you got your fruit. Let's go through those 3 things. First, shapes. We're going to start by drawing the shapes with straight lines. Imagine the fruit to be sculpted out of stone with a big chisel. You get these large flat planes. So you have to observe the fruit and imagine what it would look like if it was sculpted out of these large flat planes. This is a very useful skill to have. And don't draw too dark in the beginning. You want to be able to erase and adjust your lines. Start with the outer shape of the fruit. This is called the contour. Then find the edge where the light meets the shadow. This is where it's important to have a direct light source shining on your fruit. If you can't see a clear edge between the light and the shadow, then you got to change your light source. Values. Value is how light or dark a shape is. We're seeing an infinite amount of values, but we're going to simplify them down to 5. We've already found the shadow shape, so let's fill that in with a dark value. Something like this. Now let's focus inside the shadow and try to break it up into darker shadows and lighter shadows. Indicate those darker shadows with an even darker tone. Finally, we'll focus on the light family and break that up into 3 values. The lightest one, the highlights, is just the value of the paper itself. Try not to be spotty with the areas you shade in. Don't worry about the details of the texture of the fruit. Just get the major plane changes. Now our drawing has 5 values, 2 in the shadow and 3 in the lights. Edges. These are the transitions between the shapes. Now, usually in a drawing, we would have a range of edges from sharp to soft. But for this project, I want you to simplify it to 1 edge type. Make every single edge sharp. I want you to commit to the shapes. No blurry, mashed potato-y stuff. That's how beginners tend to hide their mistakes. But I want you to start thinking about how everything you put down has a shape that needs to be designed. So, clear shapes, sharp edges. And that's it. Your drawing isn't going to have a finished look, but this is where I want you to stop with this one. Practice taking a good picture of your drawing and post it in the community. If you did a good job simplifying, you might actually be surprised with how good your drawing can look with so little information. That's clarity. Level 2. So for you level 2 folks, I provided a photo of a portrait. You can get that in the Downloads tab under the video. You're going to follow the same steps that I just described, but you have some more difficult shapes to deal with. In the next 2 lessons, I'll demonstrate these a little slower, Generally, I recommend you attempt every project on your own before you watch my example. This allows you to use my example to identify areas you did wrong or that you could do better, and then go back to fix those things. Or attempt the project again after seeing my example. Remember, learning to draw requires learning some information and then practicing it a bunch to seal it in there. Without the practice, you'll forget the knowledge. Okay, that's it. Let's get to work.